You need the national. Okay. All right, I'll call to order this, regular meeting of the Railroad Economic Development Corporation. Time is 7:02 p.m. And, today is October 28th, 2021. For the record, the quorum is present, and we, posted notice of this meeting according to the Open Meetings Act. We have in attendance myself, Alan Julie, Tim Lightfoot, Jack Edwards, Steve Miller, Daniel Zimmerman. So again, we have a quorum. And we'll go on directly into new business. And A is consider the approval of the following minutes: July 22nd of 2021 regular EDC, September 23rd of 2021 special EDC meeting. Anybody have any comments or names or anything else about those minutes? Motion to approve minutes. Moved by Tim. Second. Thank you. Daniel. All right, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We'll go into item B, which is discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 21-007R, approving the grant agreement by and between the Red Oak Economic Development Corporation and the City of Red Oak in an amount not to exceed $15,000 for street lighting at strategic locations in the vicinity of the southwest corner of Red Oak Road and the I-35 southbound service road. So this is something we haven't talked about before, and I will turn it over to either Todd or Lee to find the proposition for us.
I'll be glad to take it. As you can see on the screen, the EDC, as you know, owns approximately 30 acres of property that's outlined in the dotted yellow lines. With the development of the property, first vegetation and other potential developments, this street, Lakeview Parkway, and this street, Waterview Parkway, there's no lighting there at all. And the concern is, from a safety standpoint, that it is so dark there that we're concerned that kids and single women and so forth are walking along this roadway because this station is going to have a lot of traffic, and in case there's an overflow out into the street, the concern is that it's so dark somebody could be injured. So we contacted Encore. I spoke with Emmanuel Cruz and with Kevin Godin, who's our area manager, and we talked about putting in these overhead street lights because they put out more light than the antique street lights. And so we talked about some strategic locations. This intersection of Lakeview Parkway and Red Oak Road, at this corner here, at the connection of Waterview Parkway and the southbound Interstate 35 service road, and then again at the entry and exit to Atagian. So we're talking about 4 lights. It could be more than that. We think 4 is going to cover it. So we were talking with them about the anticipated cost, and the city has a street light agreement with Encore. And so they don't know yet how much the cost is going to be because some of this will be covered under a street light agreement. Also, they will need to be installing poles and electrical lines there. So I asked them if they would give me the number that absolute worst case scenario it would not exceed that cost, and they said just as a placeholder for $15,000. And I said that seemed high. They said they thought it was very high, but they wanted to err on the side of caution. So they weren't able to give me a price at this point. They're going to have to run some more calculations. It could fall primarily underneath our street light agreement, cover most of the cost. It could be half of that. We just don't know. $15,000 is absolutely not to exceed cost. So anyway, our recommendation to staff is that the EDC approve not to exceed the $15,000 expenditure, and this will be in the form of a grant agreement with the city because Encore has an agreement with the city. So once the cost is determined, then that would be, we would then enter into a grant agreement with the city for that amount of money, and the city would then pay Encore what additional cost, if any, there might be.
Who pays the electric bill?
City would be paying after that, it would fall under agreement. And I talked to Will Gonzalez, by the way, and, it's been a bumpy road with vegetation, to say the least. They did almost everything that has happened, but they are saying that they fully expect to be open by Friday, possibly Saturday this next week, pending a couple inspections from the fire marshal. So if that can take place this week, it will be ready to open by next Friday, Saturday.
Is that enough lighting?
I'm sorry?
Is that enough lighting? If you look at the distance between 1 and 2, I'd rather pay a little bit more for really adequate lighting rather than having to go back and do it again. Or if I put a light right where that hand is, between 1 and 2. You're gonna put 1 in the corner, 2 in the corner, 3 in the other corner. Might as well put 1 in the middle too. Good safety.
Well, if we put lights there, does that could inhibit somebody that wants to develop there? They'd have to change their plan.
They could take it out.
They could, yeah.
Just take it, whatever
They
they could.
could.
It's just, I'm just thinking safety is all. We're gonna do it.
We can do that, but there's no sidewalk through there, so they shouldn't be walking down that road anyway. And I think I just heard, maybe it was Tim, say that, you know, wherever we put them along that road, it's going to definitely be in the wrong spot if we just put one in the middle somewhere. And it's quite possible that that road may even move, that road is not even where it is today, if we get the right user in there. But I don't know that it is all that useful having an additional light in there. We did want to make sure we had the corners and the ends, because we know that those are going to need to be there, but the rest of them, we didn't want to try to put more in. Because if we were doing it to regulations, we would be putting them in, I believe it's every 300 feet.
Here's let's see, historically, I imagine y'all all remember, Mr. Lee first came, this is all the way back in 707 or 08 or something, Mr. Lee came back, plans for that whole property. We tried hard all the way back then to talk him out of that, and to get him to allow us to work with him and get some professional planning on what they're doing and all, but he was, had none of it. We got this road in the position that it's in now, which may or may not, wind up being where it needs to be for that whole area to develop into what it should, or to be flexible enough for us to do what might work. Fact is, in some meeting along the way, there's probably going to bring up, spend a little bit of planning, kind of like the class, call it that, but you know, the layout that we use up there on where the theater's going, in that space, where when we went to ICSC and those things, we had a basic layout or color, especially done, you know, we weren't just talking about, well, there's the land, we'd like to do something. And so this right here, probably, we need a little bit of that to be able to sort of sell the property to some, I don't mean literally, but the idea of what we'd like to do with it and see if we can attract something pretty nice there. That means that we don't want to overinvest in what's there right now, basically. The lights where they are, Todd, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. What kind of lights are those at this point? Are they just regular wooden pole with a street light? Or, because
I think they would.
maybe later on we want to do something more ornamental with street lights anyway. It's going to go around. I'm sorry.
Yeah, whenever it's fully developed, we're going to want the decorative street lights out there.
So, but right now, it's just basic. So whatever we put in right now likely to come out when we do something more ornamental anyway, so. Am I right on that?
But we said this is six because it's the highest light volume. Our ornamental ones wouldn't be, enough light. Obviously, when stuff develops, so you'll have other lights. I mean, my question, have we bought lights before for any property? We developed that, I don't remember, I'm sure we have, had to at some point. I just don't remember that EDC's ever had to purchase lights, so we're doing it because we want to, obviously. Just to make this area more navigable?
I think, I'd have to look and see, Tim, I think that the EDC bought the lights on Hickory Creek, if I remember right. I'm almost positive, I'm sorry, I don't know.
I just couldn't remember having a discussion about streetlights before, EDC. But I do believe that the Waterview Parkway, I mean, that's where most people are gonna leave, they're not gonna go down the service road back around 77. So I think that's gonna be a heavily used, drive out of that property.
I think if it's overflow parking, it's probably gonna take place this area right through here, at this station. Even though it's not their property, you got concrete pad site there, and I don't know that for a fact, but that, I would assume it would probably take place there before we started integrating it, Lakeview Parkway.
This is a bit of an aside, but it occurs to me that if we anticipate the possibility of overflow parking from Tajans up onto those properties that are ours, we probably better have the guys go out there and take a good look from a liability standpoint of what's laying around, how cleaned up those properties. I think you're right, that if there's overflow, they might park on that old steakhouse parking lot. It could be, yes.
I mean, I'm, 15,000 as the worst case scenario is not huge expense, I think it will help that area be more successful until we get a new, I'm not opposed to it, I was just questioning. I just don't remember seeing this being expensive we had to pay for it. And I get that we don't have to, I get that it's contribution to the area.
Lee or Todd, did we come up with the positions for the lights 1, 2, 3, and 4, or does that have something to do with Encore?
Combination of both. We were the ones that put the locations in, and Encore looked at it and said they thought it made sense. And there wasn't a great amount of engineering put into it.
So the
Well, actually-
Encore makes sense. No, I'm not opposed to what Steve's talking about, but
I just threw that out there as put on the table. I'm not married to the idea at all, I'm just thinking in terms of safety. If you're gonna do just enough, it's not worth the extra little bump to the right. That way you reduce that liability. That's just me.
Well, again, these locations are conceptual.
I
These locations are conceptual, they can change some.
Sure.
This is a change, but it's just all conceptual.
Yeah, maybe you're right, you could move up the line a little bit, space it out enough, maybe cover more too, obviously possibly. And I think Todd's right though, wherever we put it, someone's gonna wanna move it, once they figure out.
guess you could word the agreement, contingent upon engineering.
Yeah, the other thing too, if we're doing it right, then we're not using these lights and we're using a whole lot more lights. Because this would not be what you would typically do on a city street. This was done kind of as a temporary thing. If we were doing it right, it would be the black antique street lights, and there would be a whole lot of them all up and down the streets. So this was just kind of an effort to put one there at 2 so nobody runs through the barricades and into the pond. Put one out by the highway so people see where they're turning. Put it up at Red Oak Road where people can see where they're turning. On a straightaway, there's not a lot of turning movements or so forth that people's headlights are not gonna see. And that's kind of the idea behind why it was done this way. And the other thing, and I think, Lee, I've mentioned this before, I don't know whether Pagan is aware of this, but if they're going to use our property for overflow parking, then they're gonna need a license agreement to do that, even if it's a temporary measure. Because I don't, like Alan was saying, we would have some liability there without that.
On the lighting agreement, what if we just go ahead and we pass this thing in a not to exceed 15,000, seeing as how that's probably would be a way high number, and just ask Bob Lane to consider and talk with Encore about the possibility or how one further light might work, and probably just fit it into that 15,000 anyway if it works out. Fair enough.
Yeah, so you're saying approve the 15 not to exceed and just let them structure it? Right.
Yeah.
But
But
that
another
gives
light
that
in
the
there.
ability to structure it with Encore
Yeah.
for maximum light coverage? Let's do
Yeah,
that.
it's not something that's gotta come back to us. If it ends up just being the floor, that's okay. It looks like, if one would make sense up through there in a position that Encore knew we might have to move. That fits into the 15 grand, and that's okay.
I'm good with that.
That work, Todd?
Yeah.
Anything else? Dave? All right, there's no further discussion. I would, entertain a resolution to approve, entertain a motion to approve resolution number 21-070.
We want to specify, give staff the ability to, I don't think you would, maybe tell us how clear it is on its own, if we need to specify any changes to give you guys.
I'll have to look at the
Yes,
later.
yes, it would actually be a motion to approve the resolution, also considering the maximum not to exceed amount of 15,000, which would be for at least 4 street lights. And if we can get another street light for that same 15,000, that we would place that accordingly.
Giving staff the ability to make this plan.
I didn't catch that.
I was looking to see if the original even,
We want to give you the ability to plan that out without having to come back to us, what we're saying. So, do we need to?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That, so what I said was a motion that somebody could.
So moved. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, there you go.
Have a second.
okay. But, who was that? Steve, all those in favor? Carries 5-0. All right, so now what we have is executive session. Under section 551.071, Texas Government Code, we go to executive session for deliberations regarding economic development negotiations and also regarding purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. So the time, 7:21, we'll go into executive session.
Actually, can go anywhere?
No. Well, I said that. Unless there's anything that anybody else knows of, any business we need to entertain tonight, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second by Tim, second by Jack, all those in favor? Carries 5-0.